Hello everyone, I'm Sophie, and this is my rant about Crescent City 2, aka House of Sky and Breath. My first two videos were about the first book. It was the reason I made my channel because I hated the book so much. You can go watch that, I will not. Because I have like a full body shot. I don't know what I was thinking. It was like 2 a.m. I was like, I have to record my thoughts. I hate myself. We're kind of pulling the colors together today. For the first book, the lipstick. For the second book, the shirt that I'm wearing. Represent. By the way, the reason I'm wearing this lipstick, I pre-ordered the book and for some reason it didn't ship the day it was published. I don't know why. Amazon was like, fuck you. I ordered it in paperback to have it matching. I obviously don't have the paperback, it's a hardcover. And then Amazon was like, oh no, we're not gonna give it to you. And so I went to the bookstore and they didn't have it. What kind of bookstore is that? And then I ordered it on Amazon, same day delivery, but I needed to spend 20 euros to get that. And so I was like, fuck, I need something. And so I ordered a lipstick, and it's this lipstick. It's this one, okay? It smells like my fucking grandma. Anyway, I thought just because, you know, this is the reason I'm able to deliver this video today, I'm gonna wear it. By the way, before we start, I did a little experiment. Counted how many times the word male was mentioned, because Sarah J. Maas is notorious for saying female and male. 15, 15, 20, 65, 70, 75, 80, 120, 125, 130, 170, 175, 180, 195, 200 times. 200 times. Someone needs to take the computer away from her. I don't know which... I mean, the only reason I can think of that she does this is because her editors and agents and whatever, they say like that's her trademark. You know you're reading a Sarah J. Maas book if the word female and male is used an absurd amount of times. You'll see though, she uses it in contexts where it just doesn't make sense. The most she said it on one page was 4 times, and that was half a page because it was the beginning of a chapter. So you have the little chapter symbol at the top, and then you have the rest of the text on the bottom, and it was 4 times. Sarah, you're better than this. Like, what the fuck? And also, Hunt got a haircut. And so this cover is faulty because he does not have long hair anymore. I deleted everything I filmed last night, so let's do this again. The first one in this book is the word Sophie. If you don't know me, my name is Sophie, so I was ready to be blown away. If you don't remember how the last book ended, basically we had Bryce save the city, she activated her Fae powers and she became immortal, blah blah blah. And now we don't have a plot because the evil was conquered. She won. So what's gonna happen in this book? We get a long ass prologue of like 30 pages of this new Sophie character. And she's part of a rebel group called Ophion. And basically what they're doing is they're fighting against the Vanir. And they kept saying the word Vanir and I had no idea what that was. It's just the Fae and everyone who's not human. But I was really confused in the first pages because I was like, who the fuck is that? She's part of a rebel group and she has really, really mysterious and ancient powers that they thought they got rid of, the Vanir, because they were so dangerous, but she still has them, bitch. I honestly have no idea why she's so special. I don't think it was ever explained because her power is lightning. She was a thunderbird, but Hunt also knows how to use lightning, so I have no idea what the difference is. They keep saying it's a difference. They keep saying, oh, my power is not like hers, but I have no idea in what way. Anyway, the plot of this book is that there's a rebel group and Sophie is part of it. She freed her brother from like a death camp, which by the way, her brother was in a death camp and they just never talk about that again. They mentioned it like one time. They're like, oh yeah, he was in a fucking death camp. That's horrible, but there's nothing you can do about it. And they just leave it. They don't talk about it ever fucking again, which is ridiculous to me. Like, Bryce is on such an ego trip this book, or such a like savior trip in like, oh my god, I have to save these people, blah blah blah. And then she hears about the death camp and she's like, oh yeah, each their own. Sophie frees her brother from this death camp and tells everyone that he has the same power as her, so they will be interested in saving him. He doesn't have the same powers. We find that out later, but they save him. Oh, I'm just spoiling everything. That happens like 500 pages in. Anyway, Sophie dies. RIP. It's been 3 months since the events of the last book. They don't really talk about it, which had me kind of confused because it's been 2 years since I read the book and I have a shit long-term memory if you're new here. And so I was like, what happened again? It's page 32 and Bryce is already absolutely... Oh, that's the wrong way. Bryce is absolutely losing her mind. She's so fucking horny. She doesn't know what to do. She's at a ballet with her parents, which her parents... I thought they were going to play more of a role, but they only appear in like the beginning. And then they don't anymore. Shout out though. I just don't think just Sarah J Maas knows how to write parents into her books, you know, because she's never done that before. So anyway, I mean the father from fucking Equator, but he was ass. Bryce is texting Hunt and he goes, "Want to count my abs when we get home from the ballet?" And Bryce in her mind is like, her stomach tightened and she had never been more grateful that her parents possessed a human sense of smell as her toes curled in her heels. How do you get so horny from just that message? Like, dead ass, girl. Straight up. Are you okay? They actually made an agreement, Bryce and Hunt, which I didn't remember. I don't know if I did that in the book or if that's just something that they did in the 3 months time skip that happened in between the books. But they had an agreement that they would wait to fuck until winter solstice, which for some reason is a big Christmas celebration in all of the books that Sarah J Maas writes. It's just in every universe they have the same fucking thing. Start thinking of something new. They made this agreement. I don't understand why they made this agreement, and I don't think they know either. Like, Bryce made it. She was like, "Can we please take it slow? Because everything that happened, like, I don't want to fuck you right away. Let's wait for 7 months." Which is like, okay. And then she regrets it, and they do fuck. Don't worry. They have violent sex. They don't. The sex scenes were really boring, but they do fuck. Anyway, the first sex scene we get isn't with the two of them though. It's Rune. Do you remember Rune, the fucking emo bitch? I actually, no hate towards Rune, okay? We stan, I guess. I don't have anything against him, but he's just like eating pussy. It's just like, this is the first time we see him in this book, page 54, if you want to be exact. You just get his POV and he's like, he's eating pussy. And he's loving it. We love a man that goes down on others. The first major plot point that happens in this book after the prologue is the confession? The reveal. Why did I say confession? Do I have a confession to make? It's the reveal that Bryce was actually engaged without her knowledge to a different Fae prince from a different kingdom. And his name is Cormac. I thought she made this name up until I looked it up. It's a very popular Irish name. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Now I'm educated. But I did think she wrote Cormac. It's not. It's Cormac. He's blonde though. So, tomatoes, tomatoes, boo. We don't like blonde men. They're engaged against her will. Her father arranged this because she is now officially the princess. She actually later becomes the official princess and she's super bothered by this. I don't really know. Bryce has issues. There's a scene where Ethan turns up, and we'll talk about Ethan in a second because you're like, who the fuck is Ethan? And that was also my reaction when he turned up. But he's super, super hurt because he got beat the fuck up. And so Bryce is looking for something to, you know, bandage him up, to treat him. And this is the line. Bottles of hair products, old makeup palettes, dead blow dryers flew out and scattered behind her. Why does this bitch just keep like a collection of dead blow dryers? Like multiple? I mean, like, I feel like Sarah J Maas wrote this and she was like, okay, what's in the cabinet under the sink? Hair products? Makeup palettes? Blow dryers? Like, why the fuck are there multiple dead blow dryers under your sink? That's an ass line, Sarah. I know your agent didn't tell you, so I'm telling you. Call for advice. If you don't remember who Ethan is, neither did I. He was Connor's brother. Who was Connor? Good question. Didn't remember him either. He was the dude that Bryce was in love with. No, she wasn't in love with him, but she was dating him in the beginning of the first book and he died. And Ethan is his brother and he hated Bryce, but he helped her when she saved the city. I said what I said and I meant what I said when I said Ethan is the most ridiculous, boring character in this fucking book. I don't know why we literally get like chapters with his perspective because there's no point in him. Remove him. Ethan's whole personality is that his brother died and he's sad. He used to be in love with Bryce, or he still is in the beginning. He's still like, oh my god, I want to fuck that bitch. And then also that he used to play sunball, which is apparently the only sport in this fucking kingdom, because all they ever talk about is Sunball. They don't ever talk about any other sport. I don't think Sarah J. Maas thought that far. But that's his whole personality. He's a jock who mourns his dead brother. And he's super fucking boring. Fuck Ethan. Remove him from the next book. I'm dead ass. If I see that bitch again, I'ma call corporate. This is just one example of the way she puts things. I mean, we know she uses male and female to an absurd amount of times. His father answered, "Your sister has one value to me, her breeding potential." Does Sarah J. Maas have a breeding kink? No, literally, like, breeding potential. I mean, the fact that people, like, actually use those words in the book, and they use male and female in their sentences also unironically. I don't know if Sarah J. Maas has ever heard a real person talk. Cormac is supposed to be a super meanie, but you know, as with all characters, there's more depth to them. And so is it to Cormac, because Cormac is actually a rebel. He's a rebel sympathizer. He's an agent. We actually saw him in the prologue helping Sophie, and it turns out he was in love with Sophie. This is for Cormac, not for you. I also love him. He dies though. Spoiler. I mean, this whole video is a spoiler. He dies in the fucking end. He goes on a suicide mission. I feel like there's a lot of skipping in this book. Like, a lot of scenes stayed in the draft, and I feel like a lot more should have stayed in the draft because it's 800 pages. Do you really need a book to be 800 pages? I feel like 300 is too little and 800 is too much. Like, meet somewhere in the middle. Like 500 pages I think is a good, but almost 1,000 pages? Girl. Basically, we have the ballet in the beginning with the parents, and we don't get to see the ballet. They go there, they talk about it before, they talk about it after, but we don't get to see Juniper dance one single time. By the way, Juniper is the friend. She didn't matter in this book at all. Sarah J. Maas was trying really hard to force her into it because there was such a big cast of characters, but I don't think she succeeded very well. Hunt also beats a bitch up because, like, the evil dudes from the first book, there's like some evil dudes. They come to the city to work with the new governor because there's a new bitch in town called Celestina, and she also is kind of more like of a very, very sidelined character. I feel like Sarah J. Maas wanted to put her more in focus, but I just really didn't care for her, honestly. Go die. What I was trying to say, Hunt beats someone up, and we only get to see the scene where he literally jumps this dude in front of the new governor, in front of his new boss, and then we skip to a scene where Bryce has to pick him up. Show me the fucking fist fight, you know what I mean? Like, don't just tell me about it, show me. The reason that Bryce is so invested in this new rebel thing, which obviously that's, as I said, the plot of the book, is because Daniqua had something to do with it. If you remember, Daniqua was the bestie from the first book, where they tried to figure out how she died, and now they're trying to figure out what she had to do with the rebel cause. It turns out Bryce knows absolutely nothing about Daniqua, and honestly, by the end of the book, I don't like that bitch anymore. I really liked her in the first chapters of the first book, when we got to see her, but at this point, sorry girl. Basically, Daniqua was trying to figure out a secret or something that could end this war that's going on, or that's almost happening, and that, you know, it's not really happening, it's just about to happen, but it could destroy the Volturi, or the Asteri, but it's like an evil group of old white men and women. So I'm calling them the Volturi because they were the blueprint. It turns out Daniqua had some kind of connection to Sophie, so Bryce makes it her kind of mission to find this brother, because Sophie died, but she could free her brother and he escaped, but no one knows where he's at. And everyone also thinks that he has this power, this Thunderbird power. So she goes and makes it a mission to look for him, which is like highly illegal because it's rebel work. He's a rebel. I can't say this word and not think of Radio Rebel every fucking time I say it. It makes them rebel sympathizers, you know, they could be executed for it. But Bryce doesn't care, and everyone like tells her to drop it, and they're like, don't do it, girl. And she's like, I'm gonna do what I fucking want, bitch. And it's really annoying. I felt like Bryce was so difficult this book because she was just she was so stuck up a lot of times. Giving me very much Alien vibes, and I'll get to that again, but she had like one scene where she was crying about everything that was going on. I would have been crying constantly, but she's just sassy all the time. She's sassy towards the fucking leaders of the world, towards her father who's a king. She absolutely does not care about repercussions, and I feel like that's just not realistic, but that just might be me. Everything in this book is about sex, and I feel like if you ask Sarah J. Maas the question like, why do you make your book so sexual, she would just say, oh, that's just how the Fae are, you know, that would be her excuse. But I feel like she has like I don't want to talk shit about her husband, but you know, they have 2 beautiful children, so I'm happy for them. I'm not making eye. No, I'm not. Oh my god. They're talking about the Reapers. The Reapers are just fucking... Imagine the Grim Reaper from fucking Sims, that's them. And they're walking around the city and Hunt is explaining to us what they are, and he goes like this. The cost of being a Reaper? To live forever, unaging and unkillable, but never again to be able to sleep, eat, fuck. Because that's like essential to life. Like, people who don't fuck, they just die, you know? If you don't sleep, you'll die. If you don't eat, you'll die. But if you don't fuck... bitch, you're over. Like, you die immediately. People who are virgins, I don't know how they're still walking on this earth. Oh, we find out that this is also boring, by the way. I feel like the plot talking about it is so pointless when it comes to these books, because everything is revealed in the end in info dump, and you already knew it was coming because that's the exact same way the first book went. Cormac, you know, I don't know. Cormac tried to kill Rune at some point because they were fighting for the Starborn sword. And that's like revealed, but it's not that big of a deal. If you remember, in the first book, we had a dude called Adis. And I'm gonna say Adius because that's how I read it, so that's not his name, but you know who I'm talking about. Adis was the cat daddy. He could transform into a cat, and he came from hell, and he came to Paris, I think, like twice in the first book, and he was my favorite character. I loved him, and I was hoping to see him again in this book. He makes one appearance, but it's not even him. It turns out later that it was one of the Volturi impersonating him, which I was a little sussy in that scene because he didn't change out of his cat form when he was talking to them. So I was like, that's kind of weird, but I didn't think further about it because I don't think when I read. So it turns out it wasn't even Adius who was in that scene, which basically means that he did not appear a single time in this book. He was just talked about, but he didn't make an appearance, which I find odd. I think a lot of things in this book could be could be classified certified as fan service. Rune having sex, like not one of the main characters having sex. I don't know if she did that in Throne of Glass, or Equator. No, she didn't. But like, you know what I mean? And so I would have thought that she would include Adius because I think he was a fan favorite. He was my favorite. So there you go. Include him. Since we're talking about him, I don't know if you remember the epilogue of this book. It was Jasiba talking to Adius. They knew each other and they hinted at Hunt's dad. That's so funny because they don't talk a single time about Hunt's heritage and dad in this fucking book. I feel like if you have an epilogue dedicated to fucking Jasiba and one of the Princes of Hell talking about Hunt's dad and Jasiba like knowing the male best, because that's literally what they say, you should kind of pick that up in the next book. Did you just forget about that? Or... We find out Cormac is a rebel, and he kind of introduces like this whole plot with the brother to them, and Bryce agrees like, yeah, we'll help, and everyone's like, no, we won't, because that's like fucking dangerous. And then she's like, well, I don't care what you say, I'm gonna do it anyway. And it's like, oh my god, like, just drop it, bitch. Like, you're going on this mission to save this fucking child that's walking around. What about the death camps if you're already feeling fucking generous? Thought so. Rune gets kidnapped at some point by the Reapers. The Grim Reaper. After this scene, it's revealed that Cormac can winnow. Not described as winnowing, and they say teleporting, but it's, when he explains it, it's the exact same as winnowing, so it is winnowing, okay? I'm a fucking Sergeant Moss expert. Don't come for fucking me. Let's talk a little bit about the characters in this book, okay? About the dynamics. We have the main cast. The main cast is Bryce Hunt, Rune, which is Bryce's brother, Ethan, fuck him, we've talked about it, and Therion. Therion is the mermaid man that was also in the first book, and I think a lot of people liked him. I really didn't like him in this book. I already said I didn't like Ethan. Therion's chapters were also super, super boring. He has this internal issue of serving his queen, and he doesn't want to, but he makes sure to tell you every single time it's his perspective, and it just gets old. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you don't want to serve your queen. You don't want to be engaged to her daughter. I get it, but do you have to tell me every single time? His problems were just very repetitive, but it made it kind of boring. We also have Cormac, of course. Cormac was also a little boring. I feel like he died before he could really become a full person. He was in love with Sophie. He's the crown prince to Avalon, I think his kingdom is called. But we learn absolutely nothing about that kingdom. Just that he's the crown prince and that they're like not friendly with the other kingdoms, with the Crescent City Kingdom, whatever the fuck, the Autumn Kingdom, I don't know what they're called, it doesn't matter. They don't like each other, and that's all we learn. And he could have been a much better character, I think, but he wasn't given a chance to be. He's just a rebel dude, and he's very simple. Also, of course, all of the main characters have pairings. They all have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. But none of the main characters are gay. You have Bryce's friends, Juniper and Fury. They are together, but they make like 4 appearances in this book, and also I didn't really care about them at fucking all, because the cast of main characters was already so big that the side characters, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, just give me more. Like, I don't know enough already. And then we have Rune's friends. One of them is called Flynn. He has a love interest, but that's a dragon. So. And then the other dude is called Declan, and he has a boyfriend. But again, that's not main characters, that's side characters. And also, the governor is gay and hooking up with Rune's fiance. Also not a main character, so whatever. So there is representation in this book, LGBTQ plus representation, but it's none of the main characters. It's always just on the sidelines. And I think it would have been very easy to make Rune gay or bi, or Therion bi. I thought he was bi anyway. Or Ethan gay. I mean, how well would it have fit if Ethan was gay as a jock, athletic, sunball, wolf character, and you actually went through and made him gay to show that that was accepted in the fucking community or whatever? She can't do it. He also has a love interest at the end. It's the epilogue. I didn't read it. Fuck Ethan. I'm not gonna read anything about him. Lightning skittered around the room. She didn't need to look to know he'd severed the camera wires and likely had a wall of power blocking the door. He just fucked up the whole gym property to eat Bryce's stinky pussy. And it's so funny because I was reading this and I was like, no way he's gonna eat her out after a fucking workout, because no ma'am, no one gets to eat me out after a workout. And I wouldn't eat anyone out after a workout either, you know what I mean? Like, bleh. Bleh. Her pants and underwear were soaked with sweat. She didn't want to imagine what they smelled like, and she opened her mouth to tell him, but he'd already knelt. Hunt does not care about stinky pussy. He eats it. He likes it marinated. This is also my favorite. Let me read this out to you, how Hunt reacts to fucking eating her out. This is Hunt pre-haircut. Look at you, he murmured, voice guttural with need. She never felt so naked, yet so seen and cherished. Not as Hunt slid a finger through her wetness. Fuck yeah! He growled. Fuck yeah! Hunt, you're so hot. I mean, that would have so turned me on. Fuck yeah. They figure out that Hunt can fuel Bryce's power. Basically, she needs someone to activate it. She has some of her own, but she kind of functions by being fueled with power. So if Hunt shoots lightning into her, she doesn't get hurt, but she transfers it into power. She's kind of like an accelerator. I don't know if that was the right word. This is really important, okay? But we don't care. Anyway, we care more about stupid stuff, and some of the stupid stuff comes from Hunt. Celestina gets a fiance, another archangel, because they killed 2 of them, and so they need more archangels. And so they decide, okay, let's have 2 archangels breed, in the words of Sarah J. Maas. And so Hunt goes, she'd been with a male, hadn't she? Come to think of it, Hunt didn't even know she preferred males. Had the Asteri considered that? Would they care what her preferences were? Preferences, can I not fucking read? What her experience was before throwing her into bed with Ephraim. Obviously they don't fucking care, they want babies. They don't care if she's into guys. She's not, by the way, she's a lesbian, but they don't care about that. They want her to make fucking babies, you know what I mean? Like, obviously. What the fuck kind of thought process is that, progressive ass bitch? Like, I don't know. They go to talk to a mystic. I don't know why that's a thing anyway, but they talk to him and they actually fuck up and get in trouble with like the one of the hell princes, whatever. And it turns out that in this the astronomer, one of the mystics is what I mean. It turns out that one of the mystics, they have a female, a male, and one that's both, which is also not explained, but you know, One that's both. Okay. I don't know what that means. We'll go with it. I didn't know that was a thing. Basically, the female is a wolf. And she's not any wolf. She's actually an heir. Daniqua's mom, who's the ruler, and we all hate her because she's like evil. And that's like gonna be another point, another plot point, and she's also gonna be Ethan's love interest. But it's just like, I absolutely didn't give a shit for Ethan, and so I absolutely give zero fucks about the wolf. I don't know if that's anyone else, but they were literally like so fucking boring. I have no connection to them. Fuck them. Period. We also hate Bryce, by the way. She used her power and her position as the princess, because she's now a princess, to call into the ballet studio and be like, hey, can you kind of like promote my bestie Juniper, because she's not getting a promotion and she really deserves it. And she did this out of the good of her heart, but this is like the most basic drama you can have when there's like a power imbalance. You know, when someone's like rich and buys you something but you've been wanting, but you didn't want them to buy it because you wanted to work for it yourself. I feel like that's like one of the oldest tricks in the book to make this kind of like a fight between characters. But I didn't care for Juniper. So, but I also hate Bryce now because she just used her power. So we hate Bryce now because she abused her power to get Juniper promoted, and Juniper is mad because she wanted to work for it herself, and now everyone's talking shit about her. Fuck you, Bryce. I felt like she was smarter than that, you know, to think further, but she was just like, no, I'm gonna call and promote her. Like, you're better than that, bitch. Rune has a little affair. He's actually engaged, and then he has an affair with his fiance's sister, but he doesn't know it's her sister because her sister is evil, but she just pretends to be evil, and she actually is working for the rebels. And they meet in the because he can mind read, they meet in their minds, and then they have mind sex, which I have no idea how that works. We'll just go with it. We'll just go with it. Also, he's hooking up with his fiance's sister, but his fiance is hooking up with the governor. So why not? I mean, what's going on? We have a big reveal, guys. I don't know if you can like see it coming or not, but you know, we have a ship, Bryce and Hunt. Can you guess what they are? Can you guess it? I'll give you a second. They're mates. Of course they're mates. Sarah J. Maas cannot write characters or pairings that are not mates. I'm convinced of this. I think she has written herself into a corner where it would be weird if she had main characters that were not mates, because for some reason it seems like that's like less value to her, and she's done it with every single pairing in her book, where it's possible, where they were in humans or something. So I think we're gonna keep seeing that. And so Bryce and Hunt mate, and we get this reveal from Rune. It means that he's going ballistic in the way that only mates can when the other is threatened. It's what happened then and what's happening now. Your true mates, the way of Fae are mates in your bodies and souls. Because like Fae mates and angel mates are different, and Hunt is an angel. And apparently they can mate in between species, which is like, no one really knows how that works because Sarah J. Maas didn't think about it. Anyway, who would have thought? Like, I thought it. I'm just gonna say how it is. Of course they're mates. It's a Sarah J. Maas book. Just in case you're wondering why this is an issue, I will read this out to you. His sister was mated. It was rare enough among the Fae, but finding a mate who was an angel, his mind reeled. Instead of just ditching the whole, oh, mates are rare storyline, she's gonna say, no, they're still rare, and we're just lucky that every fucking character that I write about is a mate to someone else. The best part about this is that it's pretty obvious that Rune and his, affair mind sex girl, they're also mates. I mean, like, if you didn't get the memo, it's pretty obvious, just from the way she was writing about it. And I think it's so stupid, and I will sit here and say it about every single Sarah J. Maas book. It's stupid, and I will still read it. But still, girl, think of something else. Why is just being boyfriend and girlfriend not enough for you? They have sex for the first time, 500 pages in, because he's like super mad. He's like super mad that she almost died, and then to calm him down, they have sex. It's like, you know that one scene in The Court of Silver Flames where Nesta was like, I don't know, she had like visions, and then Cassian was like, I'm gonna fuck you, and then she was like, she came back to herself. It was like, why is everything about sex? I don't know. I hope Sarah J. Maas is good. I hope you're a good girl. I literally have a 2-minute clip on my phone and I cannot get it on my PC for the life of me. So bear with me, okay? I'm about to go to the gym. I want to upload the video while I'm at the gym. Time efficiency and stuff. Listen.
all I wanted to say was they're mates. We knew that. But they fuck for the first time in a submarine after a rebel attack, and they get saved by the submarine. They're like fucking, and everyone like knows they're fucking. It's really weird. Bryce winnows the first time that she as they're having sex. She winnows for the first time. She can do it, and basically she needs. It's confirmed now that she needs someone to fuel her power to actually use like the full extent to what she's capable of. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to fucking say. And my phone won't let me. But yeah, I'm going to the gym now. Maybe I'll get my pussy ate after.
As with the first Crescent City book, I feel like it's kind of nonsensical for me to tell you about every single plot point that happens. The book is incredibly, unbelievably long, and as in the first book, at the end you get an info dump that explains everything that has been going on and everything they've been working towards. All they really do is they do different rebel activities. They went to this port thing, Hunt blew something up, they almost got exposed, blah blah blah, all of that shit, you know what I mean? The basics. They got saved after a failed mission where they almost got exposed. They got saved by the Ocean Queen, and I thought the Ocean Queen was the River Queen because there are so many queens, but they are different queens. So the Ocean Queen is good, the River Queen is evil. Doesn't matter. But everyone's just so unnecessarily horny. Therion is talking to this commander who saved them with this big ass ship to kind of figure out what's going on, and he thinks this. She faced him fully. She had a wonderful curvy body, he'd noticed, with a sort of ass he'd like to sink his teeth into. Why did he think that? Objectifying women? Fuck you, Therion. No, but I genuinely wonder, like, what Sergeant Maas thought with this description. Like, just tell me she's cute. I don't need to know that he wants to bite off her ass. Then we get the reveal that Bryce had been working to figure out where the brother was of Sophie and to hide him and get him to her parents. This was very stupid. It was very much like you have 500 pages of a book where Bryce and Hunt are the main characters, but you also have a cast of other characters that you need to focus on. But this is a big thing. This is like the main thing, looking for the brother. At least up to this point, it's like the main thing. And Bryce had been working on it. It's in secret all along. She was figuring it out by herself. We never got a hint of it in her chapters where we had her thought process. Never anything. And that's why I don't think that was clever. I feel like with plot points like this, you need to hint at it at least somehow. It has to make sense in retrospect. You have to have at least a suspicion, or you remember, oh yeah, that happened, right, so that was connected to this. But with this reveal of Bryce having done this all along, there was nothing. It just happened. She just did it in secret and we didn't know about it. And so it's supposed to be this big reveal and she's so smart, but it's like, yeah, she's smart. I didn't know about it because you didn't tell me. How am I supposed to know about it? They also free a dragon. And she doesn't really do anything in this book, but I think she'll become relevant in the next one. But there's a dragon now, which she can shapeshift, and I think that's sick. But she's a little bitch, so we don't care. She doesn't do anything in this book. She's just there. FYI, there's a dragon. Lydia was born first. She's a spitting image of my mother. Hypaxia's father must have passed along the genes for her darker coloring then. Coloring? Coloring. And this is not the only time she used that word. She used it multiple times, and I don't know about you, but that doesn't sit right with me. Just use the word complexion. Coloring? What the fuck? Especially if this world is like so advanced, they have high-tech technology. They still use the word breeding and coloring, like unironically. They fuck again, and it's really boring. I felt like, honestly, the sex scenes were really boring. They were very underwhelming. I think there's like 2 or 3 where they full on fuck, and it's boring. I mean, I wish they would do some shit like anal. Bryce never talks about Hunt's wings while fucking, and it's such a big deal that wings are so sensitive, and then she doesn't even feel the need to touch them. Like, I would be touching that shit all the fucking time, you know what I mean? Bryce is just different. They actually have a sex scene later where they're like, let's do something freaky. Let's do something freaky. And all Hunt does is tie her hands to like the bed. Bondage, BDSM, like just tie her hands. And then he wants to eat her out, but he's so horny, he just like takes the handcuffs off again, and then they fuck normally. She has it on for like 2 seconds, you know what I mean? And it's like, wow, guys, you're so freaky. I can tell how freaky Sarah J. Maas is by that, you know? And they're talking about it like, you want to try something new? Like, girl, you're literally not doing anything great. Basically, we think that the Prince of Hell or the Princess of Hell are evil, right? Because they're in hell and they're like demons and whatever. No, we love them. The king of the underworld, not the under king, but the prince of the pit, which is the king of hell. See, I have no idea what's going on. He contacted Bryce and he's like, oh, you have to be ready. There's gonna be a war and you have to train. And she's like, fuck no. Bryce, she's very stubborn and I feel like nothing ever affects her. She has like one scene where she's crying, where she's like, oh my god, like this is all so much. But other than that, she's always cocky. You never get any kind of doubt in her mind. I feel like her chapters were whack. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, she's just sassy and that's it. She's always sassy, and then she has one breakdown, but then she's sassy again. She's just a baddie. And you can't be a baddie all the time. It's okay to show emotion. And, basically, the prince tells her, like, you have to be ready for the battle, for the war. You have to be ready. You have to get ready. She's like, no, I'm not gonna be ready. So he sends 2 demons to kill her. No, to fight her. To see how strong she is, basically. And they rip out Ethan's throat. And I was praying to Jesus Christ that he would fucking die in that scene, and he didn't. It's described that this demon monster wolf thing, I don't know what it looks like, grabs him by the throat and rips out his lungs. And he's lying there, lifeless. But thank God there's a med witch, a medical witch, and she just heals him. That man just lost his lungs. See, that would have fucking slapped if he died, because first of all, I didn't care for him. Second of all, no one died in this book. Besides Sophie, but like, you know her from one prologue. You don't care about her, you know? You care about me, but not about her. I'm the only real one. We find out later that that hell is actually nice, by the way. Like, they're against the Volturi, and so we love them. I love them from the beginning, honestly. I love men. Another example for Sarah J. Maas's amazing writing. But how the male could stand walking behind them, seeing Bryce's hand on another male's arm. Why did you use male twice in one fucking sentence, bitch? Like, honest to God, why did she do that? Does she think when she writes? I don't know. Oh my god, I don't want her to be mad at me. She's gonna watch this and she's gonna be like, she's on my hit list. I feel like Bryce is a lot like Aelin in the sense that she's like Aelin if Aelin could say the word fuck. It's been so long since I read Throne of Glass, but they're both very sassy characters, and I feel like Bryce is just an updated version of Aelin. Bryce faced her father. The Autumn King said in a voice so low no one else could hear, "You little bitch." Bryce smiled broadly. "It's you little bitch, your highness." She stalked into the crowd. You can't tell me that's not something Aelin would do. Maybe she can only write like 2 types of characters. Feyre and Aelin. They find out that Celestina, the governor, that has like no role in this book, honestly, besides being there and like them being scared of her. She's a lesbian. Woo, side characters, go. Rune also wanted, there was a party for Celestina and her husband. Ironically, she was hooking up with her girlfriend. Rune wanted to meet his lover at this party, and it didn't work out. However, they were talking mind to mind again and like talking about it, and then they mind fuck. Finally. I don't know how it works. I don't like it. Also, Ethan tries to summon his dead brother to warn him that he's gonna be turned into power. I still don't like him. I never liked him, and I don't understand why he does this. Because like, what's his brother gonna do with that information? That he's gonna be turned into energy? He's gonna be dead after that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's he gonna do about it? He's already dead. But they accidentally summon someone else. The Underking. I'm so over it, actually. I don't even want to talk about it. Bryce is training her new winnowing skills. And I don't know. Listen to this. Cormac called from where he'd been standing on the far corner. "You're slowing." She was. Damn it, she was. Bryce rallied all her power. Hans' energy. She appeared in front of Tharion's bench, but the Mer was waiting. Fast as a striking shark, Tharion grabbed her face and planted a smacking kiss on her lips. Hans' laugh boomed across the space, and Bryce joined him, batting the Mer away. You just got assaulted. If they're really mates, I think if this had been Reese, he would have ripped this dude's head off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, are they really mates if they're not gonna be jealous? Like, he's just gonna laugh, haha, you kissed my girlfriend and my maid? Not girlfriend, that's not good enough. They went to meet with the Underking for whatever reason, and they get attacked by the rebels. Every time I say rebels, that sounds like such a ridiculous word. It's like, I always think of Radio Rebel. And Bryce teleports out to get help. And she explains this, how she got the help that arrives. I'm gonna read it out to you and you're gonna tell me if it makes sense. The gates, Bryce panted. I had to teleport to a few of them before I found one that was pretty empty and unwatched. I used a dial pad to broadcast a report that Ophion, the rebels, was sacking Earth's temple, right in the middle of one of those stupid daily announcements. I figured a unit would be sent here, probably the biggest and baddest they had, which happened to also be the closest. Your voice will be recognized. I recorded the message, then bladed through the gate using a voice warping app. And I made sure to move fast enough that the cameras couldn't pick it up as more than a blur. Don't worry. How the fuck did she do that? How the fuck did she do that in the span of like a minute? Did she already have that? Why does she have a voice warping app on her handy phone? Sorry, I'm German. Yeah, anyway, when she listen, this was like, this was another one of those things where she just did something and we're like, yeah, she did that. We didn't see her perspective doing it. She just did that in like a minute. She just thought that fast. She's a baddie. We love her. I don't love her. Fuck her. What you gonna do now, Sarah? Fight me? Let's meet outside. Another big reveal we get is that Nikwa had a maid. She's a fucking wolf. How does that work? You know what I mean? Like, how does she have a maid? Her maid is like one of the evil dudes from the first book who can also turn into a dog, but not into a wolf. And I didn't talk about him because I don't give a single fuck about that guy. And he just comes in to tell us, oh, I'm her maid. Here's some info dump. You know, as much as I stand Daniqua in the first book, we hate her now. Bryce literally didn't know anything about her. I would be so mad. I would be so over her, honestly. She had a maid and she didn't tell me about it and she's my bestie? But she did. And there's no real point to this besides the fact that this dude who's supposedly evil is like helping them out because Daniqua was his mate. And we love that for him. Now the guessing starts. Because I only have page numbers down here. So let's see what happens on these pages. Yay! This is the last time the pages. It starts at page 700 when this dude reveals, oh yeah, we are mates, blah blah blah. That's when the real plot starts. That's when the real banger of this book starts. The last 100 pages, they infiltrate the Eternal City and you're like, what the fuck is that? I'm not sure. Basically, it's where the Voltoria live, in a big-ass castle with dungeons and everything. And they decide to infiltrate and go there because apparently the information that Daniqua and Sophie were looking for is there. And they just figured this all out in one night. They figured out in one night how to break in and get this information, and they fucking get it. They go in there, they get the information. I'm gonna speed through this, okay? Because it was literally 100 pages. You have to 800 pages. Just for the last point to be 100 pages long, it's like the most important thing. And it seems to be the most difficult thing that they have to do. Breaking into this high security, no one leaves alive if they're not supposed to be in there, system. And they just fucking do it. They just do it in one night. They're like, yeah. It's ridiculous. Sarah J. Maas, I feel like she doesn't know how to do pacing because it was the same with A Court of Silver Flames, where in the end they had this big fight thing and then Nessa and her girlies, they win this thing, and it was just like, it was also in the last couple pages where you're just like, what the fuck is this doing here? And it's the same with this. What the fuck is this doing here? So fuck the page numbers. I'm just gonna tell you what happened out of my recollection of my mind. Basically, they break in. They manage to break in. Cormac dies. He goes on a suicide mission. Rip Cormac, loved you. Mwah, baby girl. Stop. Bryce winnows into this dungeon thing. They figured out where to go because when they found Sophie's body, she had a series of numbers on her biceps. like carved in there so they would find it and knew in which dungeon cell or whatever to look in this palace. And they break in, Bryce breaks in, she finds out, and this is the big reveal, okay? Are you ready? They find out that this world is built on lies. Basically, the Asteri, which are the Volturi, they have been conquering different worlds and different planets for thousands of years and feeding off of the people that live there, off of their souls, I think, like the light that they produce, whatever. They've been feeding off of the people, and they have this huge archive where they just keep all of this information. Okay. And they look through it, and then Bryce finds it and she looks through it. She sees different planets, figures out what's going on, and she's so shook. But basically, that's what's been going on with the Volturi. So they've been lying to the people. They've just been kind of keeping them in this world to feast off of them. That's the whole thing. And all of the people that live on this planet or this universe, I'm not really sure what the scaling is here. They used to live on other universes and planets, and they were all put there and forgot their history. Kind of like an Attack on Titan vibe, no? So that the rulers, the Asteri, could feast off of them. And that's the big reveal. That's what Daniqua and Sophie had found out. That's why they died, blah, 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 whatever. Fuck, they get caught, oh no. But yeah, I mean... By the way, we also find out that Rune's bestie babe has made... She's the Hind, and you're like, who the fuck is the Hind? She's like a really evil woman. She's super evil, but she's a double agent. I honestly thought it was Celestina. And I thought that would have been cooler, because it was obvious that we knew the character, because Hunt would refer like, oh my god, I kind of know her scent. I couldn't live in that world with like all the scenting, like I fucking stink all the time. But basically, it's the Hind, and we'll get that resolved in the next book. They're definitely mates, so whatever. Don't know how that works between Fae and fucking wolves, but whatever, you know, whatever. Sarah Boss will tell us. Or she won't, like she always does. Bryce is supposed to open gates for the Asteri so that they can like get more feasts. Like I think the point is that they can't open gates themselves. They're kind of stuck in this world for 15,000 years, which honestly is ridiculous. I don't understand how anyone could want to live that long. 15,000 years. No, ma'am. Don't sign me the fuck up. I don't want to do that. They want Bryce to open gates so they can get more people, I think, because they can't do it themselves, and so they can feast more. And they found out that Fae were actually the most nutritious, and that's the plan. But Bryce is like, fuck no. So they have a huge fight. She leaves behind Rune and Hunt, and she opens a portal. And this is the big thing that happens this book, okay? I filmed my live reaction, but I'll tell you what happened first, okay? Because I have to justify myself. She opens a portal, and immediately I knew where she was. I felt it in my heart, okay? I felt it in my heart, in my puss, everywhere. What happened was she was trying to teleport to hell, because it turns out the people in hell, the Prince of the Pit and Adidas, we love him. He didn't even show up this book, which I don't know what he's up to. They are actually the good guys who are trying to fight the Volturi. I knew it all along. She tries to teleport there, but she doesn't know how to navigate her teleports. And so she opens a gate and she goes through it and she lands somewhere. And the first person she sees is a winged male with bat wings and long hair. And I was like, no fucking way, that's Cassian. It is. It was Cassian. This bitch teleported to Ekotar. She just skipped books. This is like the thing that I feel like if you've read Sarah J. Maas for a long time, or like, I mean, she's been publishing books for a long time. This is something that, especially back in the day when like Tumblr was still big, people always wanted. People always wanted crossovers. They always asked, because even in Throne of Glass, there's portals. In Ekotar, there's portals. They always asked Sarah J. Maas if there was a possibility that the characters could meet at some point. I would have much preferred a Throne of Glass and Ekotar mash over than fucking Crescent City and Ekotar. Like, there was an epilogue, and I don't even really know what happens in it. It's about Ethan, so we don't care. But listen to the last actual line of the book and don't tell me this would have been the perfect line to end the book on. My name is Bryce Quinlan. The male stepped forward, tucking in his wings. He smiled slightly and said in the old language, in a voice like glorious night, "Hello, Bryce Quinlan. My name is Reason." And then she puts an epilogue, which I thought was so ass. Like, this was the perfect last line. I can't believe she's actually pulling it off. I can't believe she's actually doing it. And I have to say, I'm very excited for the next book, just because I want to see how she does it. Her doing a little crossover thing didn't cross my mind at all. I didn't expect that to come out of this book at fucking all. Maybe in like the next A Court of Silver Flames book with Throne of Glass would have just fit more the vibe of the books. You know, the vibe of this book is very different. I cried when I read that, and I don't really know why. What the fuck? My name is Reset? Fuck off. When Echo Moth came out, I read Echo Child and then Echo Moth came out, and I got it on release. And I mean, that's years ago. I was so invested. That was my favorite book for the longest time. And I don't feel ashamed to admit it. I think Echo Moth changed a lot for a young adult, because that for a long time was peak young adult fantasy. Even though I think that the characters and the books got worse as they went on. I mean, especially for Court of Silver Flames, I feel like that's an ass book. The way the characters were in Echo Moth will always hold a special place in my heart, because that was my shit. I read that book I read it multiple times. I know. Having them cross over with this book and like not having Nesta shoved down my fucking throat while it's happening, I was so happy. No, I really I used to have a really deep connection with the characters in that book, and I would like think about them all the time, like obsession, like hyperfixation on that book, you know what I mean? And so it did make me really happy that she actually pulled through with it, and it makes me very, very excited for the next book, I have to say. If it fits the vibe, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how she's gonna navigate that. As I said, I don't think it was the best idea to do it with Crescent City. Especially because Bryce also says, why are they wearing these weird ass clothes? And I just think that makes the dynamic she'll have to create much more difficult than if she just had crossed over Throne of Glass and Equita. But maybe she wants a challenge. Bryce has this sword with her, the Star Sword, because she's the Starborn. And Reese has like a matching sword. And it makes me think, does Aelin have the other one? What weapon does Aelin have again? Listen, when did the last Throne of Glass book come out? Don't come for me. But it makes me think, like, is she gonna do a crossover with all three of them? Because Aelin has a weapon. She has an ancient weapon. I'll Google it for you. I only hope that Rowan doesn't show up if Aelin actually shows up, because I fucking hate that guy. See? Okay, so we have Goldrin in Throne of Glass. We have Gwydion in Crescent City, and then I don't remember the name of the sword in fucking Equitar. Do you want me to look it up so you're reminded? I'll look it up for you. So basically, if you want to read Crescent City, you have to read all other fucking books at this point, because they're gonna matter. That sucks. That's like watching a Marvel movie. You have to watch like 50 million movies. I knew that Nessa made a sword and it's called Ataraxia, but I feel like there needs to be a third sword with the name G. Maybe they lost that one. I don't remember, but whatever. But see, fucking Echo Moth came out in 2016. I was 15 years old. Of course I was obsessed with it. They were fucking and shit. 3 stars, okay? 1 for the crossover. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it. For the sex. Always 1 for the sex. Always, okay? And the third one is because it was not as bad as other books I've read. I couldn't be 4 stars. I hate the way information is introduced in the end. I just kind of don't fuck with the pacing, honestly. It's just like the payoff always, you know, you're reading the book, but there's barely anything you can piece together yourself, because the big things are never really hinted at. Bryce just does them. And other than that, you can't, I mean, how were you supposed to figure out that the Volturi were feeding on First Light, on this energy, when Bryce didn't even know, when none of the characters knew? How were you supposed to guess it? It makes sense. It's understandable that they do it. Like, if you think about it, it makes sense. But if you didn't know about it before, you're not gonna know about it when you're reading the, you know, you're just not gonna know. You're just not gonna know. Period. I'm excited for the next book. I don't know when it comes out. Let's see. If it's another 2 years, I'll have forgotten everything again. I mean, actually no, because there's like 2 pages of info dump at the end, so whatever. Online it says Crescent City 3 is supposed to come out next year. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my rant. As I said, this book doesn't really give me much to work with besides the usual. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you stay happy, you stay healthy, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. Bye!